All right, let's dive into something both exciting and maybe a bit daunting. Scaling your business.
Mhm.
You've sent some great stuff over, especially that Forbes article, 7 ChatGPT prompts to scale your business. And just skimming it, I was struck by some of the stats.
Oh, yeah. The numbers are kind of stark. Like the article says, only 22% of businesses started in the last decade actually scaled successfully.
Wow.
So that means 70% hit a wall somewhere. And here's the real kicker: half of all small businesses don't make it past year five.
Okay, so maybe time to grab some comfort food after those stats, but there's a bright side, right?
Absolutely.
The article also points out two-thirds of the value created in new businesses, well, it happens during that scaling phase. So if we crack this code, that's where the magic is.
It really is. It's not just about, surviving. It's about unlocking that explosive growth and creating something really impactful. And that's what we're looking at today with a little help from our AI friend, ChatGPT.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. The Forbes article lays out 7 ChatGPT prompts. Basically, think of them as like custom-designed questions
Mm-hmm.
to help you harness AI for those scaling insights and ideas. So we're going to go through each prompt, see how you can tailor them to your specific situation, and hey, maybe even help you beat those odds and join that 22%, the successful ones.
Exactly. Think of it like brainstorming with a super smart assistant, one that can process tons of data and give a fresh perspective. Now, that first prompt focuses on a crucial aspect: timing.
Yeah, because jumping in too early, just as bad as waiting too long, right?
Right.
So that first prompt is adopt the role of a business analyst. What are the key indicators that suggest my business is ready to scale? Help me assess whether now is the right time to expand in, and then you describe your industry or niche.
Yeah, I like how it forces you to step back and honestly assess if you're ready. It's tempting to get caught up in the excitement of growth, but scaling before you're ready. Big headaches.
Oh yeah, totally. It's like building a house, right? You need that strong foundation before you go adding more floors. And what I find really cool about this prompt is it encourages us to give ChatGPT specific info about like our industry and our niche.
For sure, the more details you give it, the more targeted and insightful the analysis. Let's say you're in tech, like developing a SaaS platform for project management. You could tell ChatGPT, hey, I'm in the SaaS industry, specifically project management software. What are the key indicators that suggest my business is ready to scale?
Right, right.
Help me assess whether now is the right time to expand in the project management software market.
Okay. And then ChatGPT can factor in things like, I don't know, the market saturation for that software, emerging trends in that industry, your existing customer base, even the competitive landscape.
It's like having a dedicated industry analyst on hand giving you a personalized assessment. Powerful stuff.
Really powerful. But okay, let's say ChatGPT gives you the green light. You're ready. What's next?
Well, you don't jump in the deep end without a plan, do you? That's where the second prompt comes in. Guide me through developing a scaling strategy that aligns with my current business model and market conditions. What steps should I take to prepare for growth? Ask 5 questions, one by one, about my business plan before providing a draft strategy. Include your business model and business plan.
Okay, so this is where we start getting strategic.
Exactly.
It's not just about doing more, it's about doing it smarter in a way that supports sustainable growth.
And I love how it emphasizes alignment.
Yeah.
Your scaling strategy needs to work with your existing business model and the market conditions. You're not reinventing the wheel, you're optimizing it for speed and performance.
And those 5 questions ChatGPT asked before even offering a draft strategy, I mean, those are there to make you really think critically about your plan.
Oh, for sure. So sticking with our SaaS founder, ChatGPT might ask, like, what are your current customer acquisition costs? What are the biggest challenges you face attracting new users? How will you ensure your product can handle a big increase in users without, like, crashing?
Those are some tough questions, but answering them honestly is key for a solid scaling strategy. It's like having a mentor really grilling you to make sure you've thought of everything.
Exactly. And only after getting those insights does ChatGPT go ahead and draft a scaling strategy tailored to your needs.
All right, so we've got the timing, we've got a strategy in place. Where do we go from here?
Well, now it's time to explore all those possibilities that scaling can unlock. That's where prompt number 3 comes in. Acting as a growth advisor, help me identify potential scaling opportunities such as new markets, products, or services. How can I evaluate and prioritize these options in line with the scaling strategy outlined? Here's what we have tried so far. Describe that here.
Okay, so this is where we can let our imaginations run a little bit. Think about all those what ifs. Dream big about where your business could go.
Yeah, scaling often means expanding beyond your comfort zone. This prompt helps you brainstorm potential avenues for growth that you might not have thought of before.
For our sauce founder, this could be like exploring new markets,
Hmm.
maybe targeting large enterprises instead of just small businesses. Or it could be developing like a mobile app version of their software, or even offering premium features, tiered pricing models. The possibilities, I mean, they're endless.
It's like brainstorming with like a super powered idea generator.
Yeah.
But it's not just about throwing ideas out there. It's about evaluating and prioritizing them strategically.
Right. And that's where ChatGPT's analytical abilities really come in.
Yeah.
It can help you assess the potential risks and rewards of each opportunity, making sure your efforts are aligned with your overall scaling strategy.
So you want to focus on the opportunities that have the highest potential for impact, but also stay true to your core competencies and market position.
Okay, so we've got our timing, our strategies in place. We're starting to brainstorm some exciting opportunities. But let's face it, scaling a business isn't always smooth sailing. There are going to be some bumps, right?
Yeah, of course. And that's why it's so important to be prepared. To not just focus on the good, but to acknowledge the challenges that come with scaling.
Yeah.
And that's what prompt number 4 encourages us to do. What are some common challenges businesses like mine face when scaling, and how can I mitigate them? Add more specific business details if required. Provide specific strategies for navigating potential pitfalls.
Okay, so here's where we shift gears a little bit
Yeah.
from like a growth mindset to like a risk management mindset. We want to be excited about scaling, but realistic about the hurdles.
The article highlights a pretty concerning stat. 70% of scale-ups face major challenges in at least one critical area. And McKinsey, they pinpointed 7 key areas where businesses often stumble. Product and strategy, go-to-market, technology, people, operations, capital, and governance.
Wow, okay. That's a lot to consider.
Yeah.
But knowing those pitfalls ahead of time, that's got to give us a huge advantage, right?
Absolutely. By anticipating those challenges and figuring out strategies to deal with them, we can minimize their impact and keep our scaling journey on track.
So how does this fourth prompt help us tackle those challenges?
Hmm.
Let's think about our SaaS founder again.
Sure. Let's say our sauce founder is struggling to keep a strong company culture as they grow quickly. ChatGPT could offer some advice, maybe on building a remote-first culture, onboarding new employees effectively, or even developing leadership training for their managers.
Incredible. So it's like having a consultant who specializes in these people and culture issues that pop up during rapid growth.
Yeah. And don't forget, the prompt encourages you to be specific. Don't be afraid to give ChatGPT all the details about your business and what you're struggling with. The more context, the better the guidance.
Okay, so we've covered timing, strategy, opportunities, and those potential pitfalls. But scaling a business, it's ultimately a team effort, right? You can't do it alone.
Absolutely. No matter how brilliant your idea is or how solid your plan is, you need talented and dedicated people to bring that vision to life. And that's where our next prompt comes in, focusing on the human element of scaling.
All right, I'm intrigued. Let's dive into that in part 2.
Welcome back. So, picking up where we left off, you can't do this alone. You need a great team to turn that vision into reality.
Right, so let's dive into that fifth ChatGPT prompt. It says, help me create a plan for scaling my team as my business grows, especially as I specify the strategy you want to explore. What roles should I prioritize hiring for, and how can I maintain a strong company culture? Here's information about my team right now. Include that here.
You know, I love how this prompt really gets that people are your most valuable asset, especially when you're dealing with the complexities of scaling.
Yeah.
It's not just about adding more people. It's about strategically building a team that can handle the increased workload and support your specific growth strategy.
And it's really cool how this prompt connects team building to that scaling strategy we talked about in prompt 2.
Yeah.
Remember, those strategies could involve expanding into new markets, launching new products, or even like overhauling your operational processes.
Right.
And each of those paths needs different skills and expertise.
Exactly. So let's think about our SaaS founder again. Maybe their scaling strategy is about going after a new market, like large enterprises. That might mean they need to hire some, experienced sales executives who understand selling to those big clients. Or maybe a customer success manager to keep those high-value clients happy.
Right. Or what if their strategy is all about launching a mobile version of their software? Suddenly they need mobile app developers, UX designers who can create a seamless mobile experience.
Yeah.
It's fascinating how team building becomes this dynamic puzzle piece. Like, it has to fit perfectly with your growth plan.
It really does. And the prompt goes beyond just like identifying roles. It also gets into maintaining company culture during all that rapid growth.
Oh, I can see how that's tricky.
Yeah,
As you bring on new people, especially quickly, it's so easy for that culture to get diluted or even fragmented.
it is.
Like you might start seeing silos forming, communication breakdowns, even a clash of values.
It's like trying to keep a garden thriving as you add more and more plants. You need to tend to it carefully and make sure everything's growing in harmony.
So how can ChatGPT help with this balancing act of scaling the team but keeping the culture?
Well, it can do a lot. For starters, it can help you figure out your core values.
Okay.
What beliefs and principles define your company?
Yeah.
What kind of work environment do you want? What behaviors do you want to encourage and what do you want to discourage? By being clear about those things, you set the stage for building a cohesive culture.
I love that. It's like having ChatGPT help you create a company culture playbook.
Yeah.
And once you have those values, you can think about how to bring them into your hiring process, your onboarding, even your performance management.
Exactly. And ChatGPT can help with all of that. It can help you come up with interview questions that assess cultural fit, develop onboarding materials that reinforce your values, and even create training programs so managers can lead in a way that aligns with your culture.
Okay, this is making me realize that culture isn't just this fluffy feel-good thing. It's a strategic asset that can really make or break your scaling journey.
It absolutely is. A strong culture attracts top talent, boosts morale, and even gives you an edge in the market.
Okay, so we've tackled the people side of scaling, but let's be real. None of this happens without money. Scaling needs investment, and that brings us to our next prompt.
Yes, prompt number 6.
It's about finances.
What financial considerations should I keep in mind when scaling my business as planned? Guide me through managing cash flow, securing funding, and planning for financial sustainability. First, ask me questions about my current finances so you have a deeper understanding of my situation.
I can already feel my palms getting sweaty. Finances, I mean, they can make or break a business, especially during growth. You have to be smart about your cash flow, making sure you have enough to fund your expansion without, going overboard.
And this prompt takes a really comprehensive approach. It starts by having ChatGPT ask you about your current finances. This gives it a clear picture of where you're starting, your revenue, expenses, your profit margins, debt, all that.
So like a financial checkup before you go on a growth spurt.
Yeah.
Got to know where you stand before making big moves.
Exactly. And based on that, ChatGPT can guide you through some crucial aspects of financial planning for scaling.
Okay.
This could include things like, oh, I don't know, forecasting your cash flow needs, exploring funding options, or even creating a budget just for your scaling initiatives.
Let's go back to our SaaS founder. Say they're thinking about raising venture capital to fuel their expansion. They could ask ChatGPT. I'm thinking about raising a Series A round to accelerate growth. What are the key metrics VCs look at when they're evaluating SaaS companies? What are some tips for building a solid financial model and pitch deck?
Great example. ChatGPT can then look at data from successful SaaS fundraising, figure out what metrics investors care about, and even give guidance on building a financial model that shows off the company's growth potential.
It's like having a virtual CFO. Wow. This prompt really shows how important it is to be financially savvy when scaling. It's not just the product or strategy, it's having the financial smarts to make it happen.
And remember that stat we talked about. Successful scale-ups raise 250% more investment than they planned for. That's the power of a good scaling plan, and a solid financial strategy is key to that.
Okay, so we've covered timing, strategy, opportunities, those potential pitfalls, team building, and finances. We're hitting all the bases.
We are.
What else is there to explore in our AI-powered scaling journey?
Well, we've got the people, we've got the money, but it all falls apart if our operations can't keep up.
Right.
That brings us to the final prompt, all about streamlining those internal processes that keep everything running smoothly.
Okay, let's hear it. What does this final prompt have for us?
It says, assist me in refining my operations to support scaling. What changes should I consider in processes, technology, or partnerships to handle increased demand? First, ask me questions about my current operational setup and point out any areas of concern. Then move on to adaptations required for scaling.
Okay, this is going to be so helpful. As your business grows, those existing processes might start to struggle.
Yeah.
You're dealing with more customers, more orders, more data, more complexity.
It's like trying to upgrade your car's engine to handle a bigger load.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to make sure everything's running smoothly to avoid any breakdowns.
So how does ChatGPT help us optimize our operations? Walk me through it.
Just like with finances, it starts by asking questions. ChatGPT wants to understand your current setup. how you manage inventory, how you fulfill orders, handle customer support, what tech you're using, all of it.
So it's like a consultant coming in to do an operational audit.
Exactly. I can imagine it asking, what's your current process for onboarding new customers? How do you track feedback? What are your biggest pain points with logistics and fulfillment?
Okay, yeah.
Right. And based on your answers, ChatGPT can then spot areas for improvement. Maybe it suggests a new CRM system to manage customers better. Maybe it recommends automating some tasks to free up your team. Or even suggests outsourcing some things to partners who specialize in those areas.
This is where it gets really tactical and actionable. It's not just about finding problems. It's about those concrete solutions to make your operations more efficient and scalable.
Right. Let's go back to our sauce founder one last time. Maybe their customer support team is getting swamped with new users as they grow.
Happens to the best of us.
Right. ChatGPT might suggest a chatbot to handle basic questions, creating a self-service knowledge base, or even integrating their software with popular support platforms.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here. ChatGPT seems really good at making connections between different parts of your business. It gets how your scaling strategy impacts your team, your finances, and your operations.
It does. That's the beauty of AI for business planning. It can process so much data, spot patterns and connections that we might miss, and that perspective is crucial for smart decisions as you scale.
Right, we've covered all 7 ChatGPT prompts, and honestly, I'm blown away by the potential. It's like having this team of virtual consultants ready with insights and guidance on, like, every aspect of scaling.
It's a powerful toolkit for sure, but remember, even with AI, scaling a business is hard work.
Sure.
It takes vision, dedication, willingness to try new things, and a lot of resilience.
Okay, so I'm feeling inspired, but also a bit overwhelmed by all this. What are some key takeaways you want our listeners to remember as they start their own scaling journeys?
Great question. I think there are 3 main things. First, personalization is key. Don't just follow generic advice. Use these prompts as a starting point, but tailor them to your specific business, your goals, your circumstances.
Okay, so don't be afraid to get specific and detailed with ChatGPT. Give it as much context as possible.
Exactly. The more info, the better the responses. Second, iteration is important. Scaling isn't a one-time event, it's an ongoing process.
So we should think of these prompts as tools we can come back to and refine as we go, adjusting based on what we learn and experience.
Absolutely. You might use these prompts over and over each time, gaining new insights and making adjustments. And finally, and maybe most importantly, remember, AI is a tool, not a magic solution.
Oh, I love that. It's easy to get caught up in the hype and think that ChatGPT will fix everything.
Right.
But it's up to us, the entrepreneurs, to make the decisions and drive the business forward.
Exactly. Use these prompts to inform your thinking, challenge your assumptions, and explore new possibilities. But never forget, you are in charge. Your vision, your judgment, your actions, they'll determine your success.
Okay, that's great advice. And speaking of advice, I'm curious about something we often overlook with scaling.
Oh, I'm all ears. What is it?
Well, the article mentioned that successful scale-ups often raise way more investment than they thought they would.
Yes.
So let's say you're one of those lucky entrepreneurs who suddenly has a surplus of capital. How do you use those resources to maximize growth and impact?
That is a fantastic question, and it's something we need to explore more. So let's take a break and come back for part 3 to tackle that final piece of the puzzle.
Sounds like a plan. See you soon for the exciting conclusion of our deep dive.
Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. We're talking scaling your business with ChatGPT. We've covered so much, from, assessing if you're ready, crafting a strategy, all the way to dealing with pitfalls and building that amazing team. Yeah, and of course we can't forget about those financial considerations and making sure your operations can handle that growth.
Right. But before we finish, let's go back to that question we had at the end of part 2. Remember, successful scale-ups often raise more investment than they planned for.
Oh, yeah, that's the dream for many entrepreneurs, but it's also a challenge, right? How do you use those extra resources wisely to maximize growth and impact?
It's like having a bigger engine in your car. You need to know how to handle that extra power. It's not just about spending more, it's about being strategic. So let's brainstorm some ways to use those extra funds.
Okay, love it. First, think about your goals. What are you trying to achieve with all this extra capital? Rapid expansion, a brand new product, a world-class team, maybe acquiring a competitor.
Great options. The right path depends on your business, your industry, your long-term vision. But let's say our SaaS founder wants to focus on product development. They have this amazing idea for a new feature, could be revolutionary, but it needs a big investment in R&D.
Perfect. With those extra funds, they could build a team of top developers and designers to speed things up. They could also invest in testing and quality assurance, make sure the user experience is smooth.
They could even use some of that money for market research, get user feedback, really validate their ideas, and refine the product roadmap.
Absolutely. That's just one way. Maybe another company uses those funds to boost their marketing and sales. They could do targeted ad campaigns, go to industry conferences, or hire a team of experienced salespeople to get new customers.
Or what if they focus on hiring? Recognizing that a great team is key to success. They could use the money for better salaries and benefits to attract top talent, invest in employee training, or create a company culture that encourages innovation.
I love how we're looking at this from different sides. It shows how important it is to match your spending to your strategic goals. And this is where those ChatGPT prompts we talked about can be helpful again.
Oh, interesting. So those prompts, it could actually be used for evaluating investment options and deciding how to use those resources.
Exactly. Imagine our sauce founder using prompt 3, the one about scaling opportunities, but focusing on product development. They could ask ChatGPT, given what I have now, what are the best product development opportunities in the project management software market? How can I prioritize these to maximize growth and impact?
That's a great idea. ChatGPT could look at market trends, what competitors are doing, and user feedback to find potential product innovations that fit the company's strengths.
Right. And then they could use prompt 4, the one about challenges, to get ahead of any potential problems during development. They can ask, what are the biggest challenges with developing and launching a new software feature? How can I reduce those risks and make sure the launch is successful?
It's like those prompts give you a framework for decisions throughout the scaling journey, even when unexpected things happen, like having a guide.
Yeah, it gives you that confidence boost knowing you have a powerful tool to help you make those tough choices and boost your chances of success.
And remember, even with AI, you're the one making the decisions. Use ChatGPT to help you think, explore different ideas, and challenge yourself. But always trust your gut and do what feels right for your business.
Well said. It's about combining your intuition with those AI insights to create something truly amazing.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into scaling with ChatGPT,
Hmm.
what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away?
I think it's this. Scaling a business successfully isn't simple. It takes planning, careful execution, and being open to both the good and the bad. It's about being ambitious, but also knowing how to take calculated risks.
And while ChatGPT can be an amazing tool, your vision, passion, and commitment will ultimately decide if you succeed.
Beautifully put. Embrace the journey, experiment, and never stop learning.
That wraps up our deep dive. We hope you found it insightful and helpful. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep growing.